Okay, so we're back in the unit. It's January, it's been long, that's why I've not been posting as much. It's depression month, everybody's skint, no money, nothing going on, and that's been the story here too, until now, and I am buzzing. First delivery of the year, I think, apart from tyres. I've got this big heavy box from Born to Drift. Patrick's sorting it out. APC have shafted me and broke the box, so let's not get too excited too early. We'll dig in, see if anything's missing, and talk through what I've got. Okay, so it's a bit of a mismatch of parts that's in here, mainly for the saloon, but there are actually bits for both mine and Sophie's verts too. Can't open the bloody box, I'm that excited. Okay, so I'm actually impressed he's managed to get everything in a box this small. I'll put that away before I hurt myself. So, what we got? Hydro. Bottom mount seat brackets for the loon. Passenger side seat mounts for the loon. Passenger side seat mounts for my vert. Passenger side seat mounts for Sophie's vert. Steering lock adapters for the loon. Pair of inner and outer tie rods for the loon. Adjustable front lollipop bushers for the loon. Spherical bearings. Adjustable toe pocket, trailing arm pocket, toe adapters. They were on sale. Sweet. And then he's done me a solid on this, which when I unwrap it all, you'll see it is an adjustable DSSR, so selector rod for the gear stick. This is technically for my vert, but I'll walk you through that in a second. Basically, I'm pinching a bunch of parts off of my vert for the saloon, but upgrading my vert at the same time. And then he has a couple of air fresheners, and I would assume he sent us a cool little Born to Drift key hook for the new unit. That will definitely be put on the wall. Okay, so in body cam mode, I've cleared the workbench off. And I've got everything laid out. So, I'd love to be able to tell you what brands all of these are, but the Born to Drift website can be quite nondescript from time to time. I would assume that these are probably made by the same people, with them being zinc coated, because he only has a very select amount of parts. Because he only has a very selected amount of parts on his website that are zinc coated. These are an updated version, so these are considerably cheaper than the CNC 71 ones, but you can actually adjust these whilst they're fitted to the car, whereas most of the older style lollipops, unless you had CNC 71 ones, you couldn't. So that is a bonus. Like I say, this is a lock adapter kit for a stock arm. So with the saloon, both me and Soph run extended arms on the verts. With modded, I've got modded knuckles. She's got lock adapters. But after speaking to a few people and doing a bit of reading, stock arm with lock adapters and spacers seems to be becoming more and more popular. But thought I'd try it out first. If I don't like it, I've got my eyes on a lock kit for my vert that I want anyway, so I'll just throw everything off of the vert onto the loon in the future. this hydro, we're actually doing a pull up style hydro for this build, because where I have my hydro, Sophie can't reach it when she's strapped in, and I hate, hers is mounted on the left hand side of the gear stick and I absolutely hate that. So we're going for pull up, so it's in the OEM location, so we can both pull on the hydro easy enough. This is the exact same hydro I have in my vert, and I've had absolutely no troubles with it whatsoever, so gone for that again. Another beauty about this one is it's actually got M10x1 fittings on it. It's a 0.625 master, but the fittings are M10x1 instead of 7/16 and 3/8, because they're a pain in the arse to find. Seat mounts, got a standard side mount for the passenger side and a sort of assemble and position it yourself universal subframe seat mount that fits the 30, 36 and 46 for the driver's side, because we will be running it on rails. We have a pair of BB Classic bucket seats that will be thrown in this thing, and I still need to order some harnesses. Alright, so I know that I've jabbered on a lot already this video, but just want to explain parts of my 36 vert are being upgraded at the same time as I am building this loon. So my eventual plans with my loon, with my vert, are to turbo it. When that is done, it will also be getting a ZF5 medium case diff, diesel shafts, etc, etc. So anyway, I'll explain that in more depth in a later video, but my vert, there are constantly things on there that I want to improve and still need doing that I've never gotten around to. So now that I'm building this car, it keeps reminding me of things. Oh yeah, I need that. So the vert's getting the good stuff, the loon's getting the hand-me-downs. That's what I'm trying to say. But for now, we'll get driver's seat in. The reason I want the driver's seat in before anything else, I can then mount the battery behind it and find a nice location for the hydro where both me and Sophie will be comfortable. Right, so I've got these bases just sat where I think they should go, and all I'm going to do is just use this as a marking point, but somewhere about there is probably where I'm going to want to mark. And then what I'll do is I will bolt those little side pieces on out of the car, mount this to that, and then I'll come and test fit it again. Right, now I've got to find some M8 cap heads with Allen key heads. Otherwise this is going to come to a very brief halt. They might do for mock-up purposes. Some of those. We'll take some of those for mock-up and swap them out with proper cap heads in the future. Hello. I spent that evening assembling the seat bases, getting sliders on and side rails on the seat, so it's all in one piece. Last night, off camera, I was test fitting the seat for the first time in the car, and if you know an E36, you know that the steering wheel and the pedals aren't directly in line with each other. And the actual seat bases, let me show you. One side is completely underneath the seat where it bolts into. The other side is on the outside edge. So, the seat mount at the minute is kind of central. I need to push the seat further over to the left, so close to the transmission tunnel. So, I'm going to whip it all back out again. I'm going to make some minor adjustments, probably with the Dremel and drill, and then try again. That is definitely straight enough for the steering wheel. When I look in between my legs and look at the centre of the steering wheel, it's not far out, so that'll do for that. Okay, so after loads more fettling, the seat is finally in. So there it is, sat on its runners, sat on the mounts and the sliders. It slides lovely when I'm sat in it. I've just got to lose a bit of winter weight, but seat is in. Reason that's important is because of this. This is a vertical or horizontal one. I have this in my vert and I've got no complaints about the actual hydro. It's solid, it pulls lovely. I could just do with bleeding my brakes a little bit better, but we'll get to that. So obviously it's in the vertical position as we speak, but all we've got to do to change that is pull this little M8 bolt out here, drop the handle, and right there is the hole that the master cylinder bolts into afterwards. So let's get that done quickly, and then we'll throw it into the car and have a look at where we're going to put it. Just because it does pivot, so there we go. Okay, so my seating position will be around about something like this, I would have thought. But the reason I'm making such a big deal of this is because this hydro needs to be in a position that is going to be suitable for the pair of us, which means probably somewhere about here. Because of how the E36 transmission tunnel narrows out, I'm probably going to have to make some form of mount for this to bolt up onto, like nice and flush. So I do have some spare 3mm steel plate, but I will have to go out tomorrow and grab some gas for the MIG welder because I have run out. But if I could hazard a guess, somewhere about here would probably be quite nice for the pair of us. I think I've found a position that I'm happy with. Stays out the way of the wheel. It's very close to the shifter, don't get me wrong, but obviously we've got no reverse gear down here and I'm never going to be drifting in fifth, so it's not really that big of a problem. And the beauty of this is it actually utilises one of the factory holes of the factory handbrake. So this is ideal. I just need to wait for the gaffer to get here now so she can slide the seat into where she's comfortable and we can figure out if she's going to be happy pulling that up from there too, because that feels perfect to me.
As in sitting it now?
Yeah.
Is it bolted in?
Yeah.
Lovely.
You snug?
Yeah.
Right, put the steering wheel on.
I can already tell that's better.
You saying? Pull the hydro. Does that feel okay?
That's absolutely fine. I'm not
Thank God for that.
not even banging my arm on the back of it.
Perfect. That means I can mount the hydro today then. Right, so we know where we're going to put the hydro. I've got my reference point. One of the front bolt holes of the original handbrake are bolted into the hydro itself, so I know how far forward it's going to be. I'll pick an angle and make a bracket up, but last weekend ran out of welding gas, so first thing in the morning, take the bottle back, get a fresh bottle of gas, and tomorrow start making a hydro mount. But in the meantime, one more part of the interior, we need to get a shifter sorted. So the shifter is in there, as you've seen, but we need the DSSR, which is the selector rod. So obviously I've got that adjustable one that I mentioned is going to go in my vert. So I'm going to get the vert jacked up, take the DSSR off of that, set the adjustable one to the right length, put that in the vert, and then put the standard one in the salute. Right, I'm not proud of this, but I need to shorten this down. It needs to be shortened by 30mm. This isn't the first time I've seen this done either, so I know I'm not the only one. That ain't going nowhere. $3mm steel, either side, holes drilled, sandwiching it together. Easy. Right, let's get this shifter in.
So difficult. That is all together.
Might be a bit misleading, but from underneath that felt really nice. It bounces back to the middle a lot nicer than other stock shifters I've felt before. First, second, fifth, straight over into reverse. That's really springy. I don't know what this Getrag's off. I don't know which car it's off of, but fair play. I rate that. So now I just need the clutch line. I've got the slave, got everything. Here's my slave. There's the soft line coming off of it, but the actual clutch hard line itself, the hose was frayed, so I needed to replace the hose. But the hard line was stuck in the car, so cut the line. Went to flare it again. It's 1/4 inch steel. My flaring tool doesn't like that, so I gave up. I best try again, because it's not going to flare itself, is it? Right, so it's a new day. The hydro is in finally as well, because I've mounted the hydro up on the mount and I've welded the actual bracket in place. So the hydro is still removable, but it is sat there, a hole on its base. So hydro's in, so now all I've really got to do is plumb it. So I will get those lines plumbed now. That is far from the nicest rust repair I've ever done. Definitely not proud of it. So just to finish off this video with one last win, the last piece of the engine bay puzzle turned up today, which is this. This is a 330 M54B30 intake boot kit. So it's got all the OEM fittings on it, so like for the ICV and the vacuum pipe. Comes with super clamps. So just to finish this video off, we'll get that on and call it a day. Right, so dare say that is for that. Are they the same? '92, yeah. 92. 103, so that's math. These are for the throttle body. I've got to say, this silicone feels great, but these clamps are absolute toss. This is one of my least favourite jobs to do on an M54. I despise it. And this ABS block is not going to make things easy. Oh, I think I'm going to need a bit of YouTube magic for this. Okay, so that was a lot harder than I'd like to admit. These kits, Barbarian should I say, they're for E36 330 Ci, and the airbox fits different to how it does in an E36, so I've got to let them off with the fitment. It isn't great, but I bought a 330 Ci one because of the throttle body diameter being different. So it is wonky. It's pointing towards the hot part of the engine right now, but I wanted to get it on and see how it fit, so that I could order some form of pipe to direct the filter this way. So I'm going to have to try and find a relatively small cone to try and fit behind the headlight. So I've not ordered that yet because, like I say, I needed to know if I needed a 35, a 45 degree or a 90 degree bend. It's looking like it's going to need a 90 degree bend. It'd be nicer if it was like an 80, 75, but they don't exist, so especially not in 3.5 inch. So yeah, we'll get those on order and that'll be the intake system done. But like I had, and in the post today we got steering wheel boss and a quick release. It says a eBay special, but this Koyo Star or Kayo Star, however you pronounce it, we've ran their quick releases before, bought the matching slimline hub, and even though it is an eBay special, they're actually pretty decent quality. Zero play whatsoever in the bearings. Nick's had his in for like over a year now and it's still sound. So gone for it again, cheap and cheerful. So we'll get those in and I can see what the interior, as in the seat position and the hydro, feels like with the steering wheel in front of me too. Got no clock spring, so I can put that on upside down. Doesn't really matter. There we go. Right, so slimline boss is on. Hides a bit of the mess well until the dash is on, and old Stinky's back out. And where I think I would sit in regards to the pedals, it's like the perfect distance away with that slimline boss with the quick release. Hydro's in a nice position. Only thing I need to sort is my shifter position. I think I need to try and bring the seat down a little bit, just to bring my arm a little bit closer. But we'll see about that when we get the shift knob, see how I feel. But right now I feel like I'm stretching a little bit to grab it in first. So we'll see. But yeah, that's the majority of the interior parts fitted. Now to pull it all back out, get all this harness tidied up, and lay some paint in the bay. Not bay, interior. So, as I say, that is the majority of the interior components in. We've got the driver's seat. The passenger seat I've not bothered with because that'll be straightforward, because it'll be fixed position. Steering wheel's in, which is nice, and the hydro and shifter is all complete. So, starting to come together, but now we need to pull everything back out of it when the time comes, so that we can get the harness all tucked, make sure it's all out of the way, mask everything up and paint the interior, because I cannot sit and stare at red when the car will not be red. But you'll see what colour it's going in the future. But we are still waiting on some parts to arrive for the front suspension. So the next video will probably be front suspension related, and then I need to get the battery tray mounted in the interior, and I will do the hydro hard lines off camera, because nobody needs to stand there and watch me flare brake lines. And I'm sure you all know how to fit inline hydro lines. So that being said, we'll get the parcels that I'm still waiting on, and we will get fitting the rest of the stuff ready for a video next week. So till then, thank you for watching. Safe.